Have you ever stopped and wondered how a company really knows what you think? I mean, beyond the sales numbers and those online surveys they're always asking you to fill out. How do they actually get inside your head to figure out not just what you buy, but the deep down why behind it? Well, a lot of the time, the answer is found in a very carefully staged conversation, one that's happening just out of sight, right behind a one-way mirror.
You see, for marketers, there's this huge challenge. All the big data, all the surveys in the world can tell them that, 75% of people prefer brand A over brand B. But that's just the what. It doesn't explain the feelings, the memories, or the hidden motivations that are really driving that choice. And that, right there, is the knowledge gap they're desperate to fill.
And this slide really nails the two different ways companies try to listen. On one hand, you've got surveys. They give you breadth. You get a little bit of information from a massive number of people. It's fantastic for getting the numbers, the what. But focus groups, they are all about depth. It's about getting a deep, really nuanced understanding from just a handful of people. This is where they go hunting for the why.
So what exactly is a focus group then? First off, it's not a test, it's not a pop quiz. The best way to think about it is as a professionally guided conversation. It's totally free-flowing, you get about 6 to 10 people in a room, and a moderator leads them through a discussion that's specifically designed to dig deep and uncover what really makes them tick. We're talking about their true beliefs, attitudes, the real reasons behind the choices they make.
Now, it's not as simple as just grabbing a few people off the street and sticking them in a room. Oh no. A huge amount of planning and structure goes into building one of these sessions. So let's pull back the curtain and break down who the key players are and the very unique environment where all of this happens.
It's a whole ecosystem, really. Let's imagine a marketer like P&G has some kind of wild new idea, like, say, caffeinated oatmeal for college students. They're not just going to guess if it'll sell. They'll hire a specialized focus group facility. That facility then finds a professional moderator and, this is the most important part, they find the exact right consumers to come in and talk about it.
The physical setup is pretty fascinating, kind of like something out of a movie. You have the main room, the focus group room, where the conversation is actually happening. But right next to it, hidden behind a one-way mirror, is the viewing room. This is where the clients, the folks from P&G, are sitting in the dark, watching and listening to every single word, every pause, every little reaction.
And this right here, this gets to the absolute heart of what makes these things work. Unlike a random survey that goes out to thousands, the people in a focus group are chosen with surgical precision. The success of the entire project really depends on getting the perfect people in that room.
So how do they find them? With a special tool called a screening survey. For our caffeinated oatmeal idea, they wouldn't just look for any college student. Nope, they'd use this really detailed questionnaire to hunt for students who exercise, who say they care about healthy food, and, this is key, who specifically say they have a hard time getting energized in the morning. It makes sure the conversation is completely laser-focused. Okay, so getting the right people in the room is half the battle, but the other half, that's all about managing the actual conversation. And this is where the moderator becomes the most important person in the building, because let's be real, group dynamics can be incredibly tricky. I mean, think about any group meeting you've ever been in. There's almost always one person who just talks over everyone else, right? That opinion leader? Well, in a focus group, that person is a total disaster. If one person's really strong opinion starts influencing everybody else in the room, then the marketer's just getting skewed, totally useless information. And this is where a great moderator really earns their money. They're like a social conductor, using all these subtle, nonverbal cues to manage the flow of the room. They might casually stand next to the person who's dominating, or they'll make direct eye contact with the quieter participants to draw them in. Sometimes they'll just call on someone by name, saying, "Hey Sarah, what do you think?" It's all about making sure every single voice gets heard. So how do they get to those real aha moments, the real gold? Well, experienced moderators have a whole toolkit of psychological techniques that go way beyond just asking direct questions. They're designed to get at what consumers might not even know they're thinking. It sounds almost too simple, but the single most powerful question a moderator can ask is just, why? Seriously, by asking it again and again and again, they can start to peel back the layers of someone's thinking, moving from a really superficial answer to a deeply held personal value.
This is a brilliant technique called laddering. Let me walk you through it. A person might start with a simple product feature. This detergent has a flowery smell. Okay, the moderator asks,
Why is that important? Well, that's a functional benefit. It makes my clothes feel fresh. Okay, and why does that matter to you? And then, bam, it connects to a core personal value because it makes me feel like a better mother. All of a sudden, that company isn't just selling a laundry scent, they're selling the feeling of being a good parent.
Now, to get even deeper, moderators use something called projective techniques. The best way to think about these are like little psychological games. By giving people a vague task or an ambiguous picture, it kind of forces them to project their own hidden feelings and beliefs onto it. It lets them reveal things they would probably never say if you just asked them directly.
For example, they might throw out a question just like this. The answer, obviously, has nothing to do with biology. It's all about the brand's personality. Is it a sleek panther? A powerful stallion? This helps marketers tap into the raw gut feeling their brand gives people.
Or they'll get people to put down the pens and pick up some crayons. Asking them to draw something taps into visual stereotypes and perceptions that are often really hard to put into words. You know, are they drawing someone who looks confident and successful? Or someone who looks a little bit arrogant? That picture can reveal way more than a simple description ever could.
By asking people to personify a brand, to treat it like a person, and tell its story, they can see where that brand fits into our culture. Is Pepsi's Day fun, energetic, social? This tells the company so much about how their brand is really perceived in the context of our actual daily lives.
So, after all of this, the elaborate setup, the secret observers behind the mirror, all the psychological techniques, what's the bottom line? Are focus groups the ultimate secret weapon for understanding what we buy?
Here's the crucial trade-off you always have to remember. Focus groups are absolutely brilliant for exploring the why, for generating brand new ideas out of thin air, and for testing out creative concepts. But, and this is a big but, they are absolutely the wrong tool if you need statistical proof. The opinions of 8 people in Chicago can't predict what millions of people across the country are going to do. They give you incredible depth, but they can never give you breadth. Which leaves us with this final thought. In our world of algorithms and massive data sets, there's still this powerful, kind of hidden world where some of the biggest business decisions are made based on a simple, face-to-face conversation. So the next time you see a product or an ad and you think to yourself, wow, they get me. Was it a spreadsheet that figured you out? Or was it a small group of people, probably a lot like you, just talking in a room?